Well, when it comes to parenting, there's a ton of different styles out there. There's tiger mom, dolphin dad, helicopter mom. You've probably heard of them all, but which approach works best?
Joining us to share their thoughts on the matter are actor, comedian, and father of three, Jerry D, a mother of three daughters in their 20s, Chantal Bisson, and last but certainly not least, a self-described hands-on dad, Richard Cazzo, whose daughter is almost 3. Welcome, guys.
Welcome to the show. All right. So before we dive into this conversation, I think we should first just define these different parenting styles. So we'll start with the first one, authoritarian parent. This is a parenting style that emphasizes rules. This is a parent who's very stern. What I say goes. Don't ask me any questions. Were you guys raised that way, or do you parent that way? I'm just curious.
Well, I was raised by a single mom, so she was running, 5 ways from Sunday. She was exhausted. So it was definitely, my house was definitely, just do what I say.
Yeah.
What I say goes. I think it was just to facilitate scheduling and more than anything.
And not have a conversation.
Yeah.
And what about you, Richard?
Oh, I got that too, and it drove me crazy. It made me, totally made me rebellious in the end.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Simply because there were never any explanations as to why it was always their way.
Yeah.
And then furthermore, it's like they can't be that way all the time. So it just made me more rebellious. So I was always the kid convincing every other kid to stay out later.
Really?
Yeah. Let's stay out later. Let's break
then
curfew.
Your parents obviously didn't have access to the wooden spoon.
I was just
Because
Right.
I was like, the wooden spoon's coming out if I dare.
to bring you
And
back
the
in.
shoe. You
And
ever
Jerry-
get the shoe? Anyways, never
got the
mind.
shoe.
That was...
Wow. All right. So Jerry, what about you? Were you parented that way? I know you have 3 kids. Do you parent that way at all?
I ran away when I was 7.
What?
What?
No, I'm kidding. I would have, if I
Never
did
looked
run
back.
away, I would never have been allowed back. So it was tough love, same
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
old school.
Yeah.
The difference now is we don't match. What happens in the home doesn't match what
Exactly.
happens in the real world. So
Yeah.
the real world has stayed the
Right.
same in
Yeah.
the last 50 years. Everyone goes for a job interview. One person gets it. At home, we don't do that. So they're not ready for the real world.
Yeah.
And so I know my wife and I were a bit of both too, where we're time to be a strict disciplinarian. You got to be on the same page
Yeah.
as parents and both saying the same thing. And that's when it gets tricky. When one of you is a disciplinarian and one of you is permissive.
That was my strategy.
Let's talk about, but before we, and I agree with you, because permissive parenting, it's characterized as indulgent, emotional warmth, reluctance to make any rules. You want to be friends with your child.
That's a huge disservice.
You saying that's the type of parent you
Cool
want to be.
dad.
See, this is a lie that parents tell themselves. You do not become the cool parent at all. What you become is the parent who sets your kid up for failure. Because you're like, you are the parent that's like, I got your back, I'm gonna handle everything for you, I'm gonna be your favorite person. And then your kid goes out into the real world, goes to university, and they don't know how to debate with a professor, how do I get the grade that I feel I worked for, that I deserve?
Or
they don't know how
more
to handle
importantly,
life.
you kind of set things up in the beginning, which my parents did this, where mom is bad cop, dad is good cop. Bad things happen with mom, dad's fun guy. And then
you end up in divorce.
That was great when I was little, but when I got to my teen years, my dad couldn't talk to me, because I was like, you're not the boss here, you're an employee. I talked to her. Things go through her. I know the way this works. You've been telling me to go to her my entire
life.
and now you want to put your foot down? Save it and give me the keys, old man.
You can't call him old man.
That's what happens,
Okay.
because he played good cop, and when I needed a strong, firm, it's like you can't decide
Well, it's a trust
to do that
issue. It
now.
becomes a trust issue.
Exactly.
Right?
Good cop, bad cop does not work.
No.
Balanced relationship between the two parents is what needs to take place. You work together. You have to have a very similar parenting style. I get that you might be a little soft because you're the dad and you're just like, that's my kid, that's my boy, that's my girl, and stop crying. But at the same time, you've got to stand by the side of your partner, your husband, your wife, whoever you're working with at that time. Stand by their decision and roll with it.
You still sometimes will stand by them, and then when the kids are gone, go, what are you doing?
Absolutely.
Well, that's fine, but just don't do it in
gotta-
don't do it in
no,
front of the
no.
kids.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting, because I know you said earlier that you had a very strict upbringing. So what are you doing with your 3-year-old? She's still very young. So are you doing what your parents did? Obviously, you don't want to do
No,
that.
a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of explanation. And no,
Can you talk to a 3-year-old?
Yeah, you can.
They're smart.
When
Can
your
you?
Yeah.
kid walks to the fridge and decides, I want what says the word healthy, then you know you can talk to your kid.
Okay.
But the point also is that why not start the dialogue now? The idea is to continuously have her understand that we're going to talk this out. We're going to get an explanation. We're going to figure things out. Because then you create options. Then you create.
You and I are thinking the same thing.
I know, because wait a second, because I'm just thinking.
Not everything's a negotiation. I get that.
If I'm crossing the street and the rules are I grab your hand and you don't want me to hold your hand, I'm not going to negotiate and talk to a 3-year-old about why it is you need to hold my hand when we're in the parking lot. You're going to take my hand because we're going across the street.
You're gonna.
Do we always need to talk?
But you're gonna be stern. But you're also gonna explain why.
I'm curious because your kids are at an age where I think you can definitely have a conversation with them. So how does it work with you in your household?
You hear of stories, well, wait till they're 13. They don't want anything to do with you as a dad. They drift away. And that scares me, right? Because they're your little girls. But someone also told me that just talk to them the whole way through.
Yeah.
Just keep talking to them about everything. And that doesn't necessarily happen.
Is there an age to start talking? Your kids are at that age where you can have that back and forth and explain.
The 4-year-old, yeah. I said to my daughter the other day, she said, I'm going to go get some cereal. And I said, yeah, try not to make a mess. She said, no promises. So can I talk to her? You're that quick-witted? Yeah, you can have a conversation.
But I get what you're saying. So so continue on, because I know what you're saying.
Two things. The conversations, the dialogue starts as soon as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They get into the habit, they get into the rhythm. They know that when they do something wrong, they're going to be spoken to.
All right, but here's the deal. This is what they said the consequences of permissive parenting, right?
Okay.
So listen to this. They say children of permissive parents are less likely to learn problem-solving skills.
Absolutely.
More likely to be aggressive. And teenagers with permissive parents are increased at risk at a multitude of things like
I'm
drugs
not a big
and all
believer
things.
in
You ready for that?
And depression.
There goes my strategy.
I'm not a big believer in someone saying this does this.
Yeah, you say go by the child,
I
right?
say there's no rule, there's no method to this.
Yeah.
You live it and you do it. There's no chart you go to in the morning and go, this is what we do, and there's, oh, he did this, we do this. I don't believe that. I don't agree with you can read a book. We've read all the books. We've tried it. It says talk calmly. Why are you screaming? Stop screaming. You know what they do? They just keep screaming until you scream.
No, that's not. Wow.
Everybody has a different thing. Like the paddle. Some people will go with the paddle.
Here's
Some people
the thing.
don't believe. I've grabbed my kids. I've grabbed them. I said, "You get over here right now."
Yeah.
And there's people that say you shouldn't do that. Social services.
I think we're in this very interesting time where parents feel like they can't parent. Like growing up, it was a normal thing to see on a Saturday morning leaving the mall, kids being hung up by one limb, being dragged out by a parent. No one said anything. It was like, or being spanked, and everybody just let that parent take care of it.
Because that kid's out of
you can't
control.
raise your voice at your child in public without
But
somebody
now it's
telling
the
you.
opposite. Now you're sitting somewhere,
Yeah.
and I don't get these parents where there's a kid like, you're climbing over me, and I'm like,
And they're
where's
saying
the
that's
mom
the
or dad
permissive-
going,
now
hey,
we're on the permissive
sit down.
trend.
Yeah.
You just let him do it. Isn't he cute? No, he's not cute. He's driving me nuts.
Yeah. You know what else happens with permissive parenting?
Yeah.
And I see this with my youngest. She's third-year university. And what is happening now with this permissive parenting trend is these kids don't know how to talk to the professors. Parents are still, she told me a story of a mother calling a professor about her child's grade. That's what permissive parenting.
What?
And that child has no coping skills, doesn't know how to fight for what they want, doesn't know how to stand up for themselves. You're not doing any favors if you're
by being their
permissive.
friend.
Well,
Now,
that's
also,
true.
like just to go back just quickly so I can redeem myself
you're
here
right,
with
'cause
Jerry.
We did a lot of research. No, because you're right, because we did a lot of research and they said that's exactly right. Being too permissive is not a benefit to your child. Being their friend and letting them do whatever they want. Child
wait.
psychologists,
Yeah, but I've met child psychologists. They're weirder than the kids I'm dealing with. So some
Not
are good,
all of them.
some
That's
are
such a
good,
sweeping
right?
statement.
No, not all of them. But there's no this. They say.
You say forget it. You know your kid. You do it with your kid.
Yeah, come to my wife and I are laughing. My son is 4. I don't think he's had a fruit or vegetable his whole life. And they're like, put it in a milkshake. Put it in a milkshake.
Yeah.
Try it. He takes one
The
sip.
college
and
thing
goes,
is interesting, Chantel, because I read that 95% of college counseling centers across the states have reported they're concerned with the growing amount of psychological issues that they're seeing in students after entering college due to kind of helicopter parenting, like that kind of parenting style.
95 is
95%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's
so,
shocking.
that was shocking. Yeah.
There's parents that, sadly, there's parents, and I have friends that have been in this situation where they have 3 kids or 2 kids or 4 kids, and one grows up and they're 18 and they're addicted to drugs or they go the wrong path, and those parents sit there and go, what did we do wrong? There's
probably
not
did too
one
much.
moment. There's not a moment we were too permissive. That's what it was. There's no moment. There's no book.
Yeah.
It's just, it can happen, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't, like our middle child, people say it's middle child syndrome. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But our middle child is different from our oldest and our youngest. And we haven't done anything different with the three of them. We fed them the same foods.
Yeah.
The 4-year-old
Same
doesn't
household.
eat the vegetables.
Yeah.
The 9-year-old does. We did the same thing. So I don't believe in a book
Yeah.
where there's a chart. It can help you. It can
Well, yeah, it
guide
can
you.
give you
give you
guidance.
advice.
So it sounds like,
But it's
you know
not
what?
do this, do that.
It's a child by child, and if all else fails, just get a dog. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us and sharing your opinions. That was a great conversation. All right, next you hear C's Redemption when we come back with a mac and cheese dish that will feed the pickiest of young eaters. Maybe you can ask him how he feels about it.
Get some vegetables.
I'm scared to. Coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, will the kids like the healthy macaroni and cheese?
Macaroni.
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 Is it tasty?
Yeah.